That's the quickest way to date yourself is 60. What?
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, you're driving.
Are we ready? Okay. So today we're going to look at how we finish these two drawings. That's kind of what I want to do today, and I'll show you anything you have questions on with them. So we're going to start with our roof. We're going to try and get that guy finalized. We're going to go to our elevation, see how we can get those finalized. Figure that these two drawings are probably going to be due end of day Monday. Okay. And I'll grade them as 1. I do want them half scale. Okay. Keep in mind when we do that, we'll do them half scale. Because there's not a lot of dimensioning on these, we can certainly do these on B sheets and do our redlining on it. Okay. Next week where we need to go, because we got spring break coming, and in essence, really, technically, we have only 2 weeks left, but I'm prepared to go 3 on this. But I can take a week out of the next course if we need to. But we're going to try and finish all our major plans next week. Okay. We've got a field trip on Monday. This will take up the morning hours. Again, I hope to be back here by noon. In fact, we will be back here by noon. Tuesday, we're going to go finish something in the floor plan that we've kind of been putting off, and that's the stairs. Now, I would like you, before Tuesday, to read the chapter on stairs. Specifically, and let me just kind of give you some page numbers on that. There's one portion of the stairs that you really have to kind of understand and look at before we get to it. What page is stairs? 39, isn't it? Chapter 39? Yeah, it's chapter 39. There is a chart on page 976 on the left side of table 39.2 where it runs through how you do the math and the codes that are needed for stairs that are all in one place for you in the textbook. It's page 976. In essence, what I'm looking at is this. In essence, this first table, 39.1, is all the pertinent codes. Not all of them, but pretty close to them. And then the second table right below it is the math that we use to figure out stairs. So let's get this thing finally nailed down. We not only have to nail it down for our floor plans to be accurate, if you have a stair in your structure, you are required to draw a section of it in Twin Falls City. Okay, so we will be killing 2 birds with 1 stone with that. Okay. Wednesday and Thursday, I'm planning on getting the foundation done. There will be 3 chapters in here. In essence, I'll do 1 day where I'm talking about the different types of foundations. Second day will be a draw, and we'll start putting it together. Okay. Friday, we're going to go to our shear wall plan. This is the last thing that we need to do that will probably affect our floor plans. Maybe not the last thing, but pretty close. Okay, how do we take care of shear or wind forces on a wall? Okay, and we might have to move a couple windows and things like that to make this work. Windows, doors. So we'll get that guy going on Friday. And I'll give you the readings for those as we come into them next week.
Do you mind pulling that down? I missed part of the roof.
Well, yeah, I can go over it all again too, but I'll put it right there. Now, we only have after that 1 major plan. We're going to cut a section through our building, at least 1. But other than that, what we're going to then do is have to switch to more of an engineering type realm, where we're going to look at how we're going to support floors, how we're going to support walls. The deck is going to be an issue. We need to support that. So we'll go into some beam design, column design, floor design, these types of things. So we'll start getting into the nitty-gritty instead of just looking at shapes that we're going to occupy. And that will happen the following week, and hopefully we're kind of wrapping stuff up at that point in time. Now, one other thing that needs to come in here somewhere, and I'm not sure where, we're going to gather all our information for the site plan. Okay, so we'll take that information we get on the site, and we'll bring that into a drawing, which we've already got the property boundary, but we do need to put that information on our site plan. It'll be a pretty quick inspiration. Any questions on that schedule? Is there something on there that I'm not aware of? Anything going on with the club or? And no time constraints on any of that stuff? All right then, with that said, let's go to the roof plan. In essence, what we want to do is we want to get to this scenario. And I think most of us are here, first off. First question I got, does everybody got their roofs all done? Okay, because we handled this one as part of the class. I'm not sure that everybody got it done when we did it. The big shed here over the deck. Now, I've got a little shed over this bump out here. I know some other people are working on different options. I know everybody's got a gable. I think, Majid, did you end up going with a hip over this? Did you all get this roof done
Yeah, you had to see if we did.
down here? Yeah, you didn't even have this, so. Yes, no? You have to kind of draw that in the elevation, so when you're drawing this elevation, that's where you see that profile, and you can draw it and get how high it goes. A lot of you had a bump out right through here, like Declan, right? Don't you have one here for the tub and stuff? Did you get this roof covered?
Not quite.
Okay, that ought to be a priority, is getting that drawn in an elevation and then transferred to this drawing.
Do you expect us to already have all the arrows and all?
No, that's what we're going to cover today, because we have not talked about the arrows and the framing notes. Okay? Okay. Now, our footprint, this hidden line, that's going to bear all our trusses, that should all have been in there. We did all that together. That's just copying the outside of your main floor plan over, and then drawing your eaves, where we went pretty standard 18 inches all the way around, right? So, should we talk about framing notes and how we're going to put those on? Because in essence, we need to do that. Probably the best example you have on this is, let's see, roof chapter. They're chapter 24, right? 22, chapter 22 has a picture that's kind of the best one. Page 551. Okay, so this one right here is in essence the roof framing plan, where we're going to hopefully get to. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to add all these framing notes. That comes in through here. First thing is we got an open-faced arrow. Okay. If you use your polygon command, and we want this to be a 1/4 inch. Okay. Why would I use the polygon command? Because in essence that arrow is an equilateral triangle. Okay. Or you could do a standard triangle if you wish, where you get it a 1/4 inch and then put your width 1/3 of that if you wish. Now, if I needed to print a 1/4 inch, what size do I need to make this arrow? Times my DSF. What are we printing this at?
Oh,
Doing a 1/4. Okay. Remember, when you do a roof plan, you can go 1/8. But like I mentioned during the thing, it looks kind of weird. People can't make the jump, I've found. A lot of people struggle making the jump when they're looking at floor plans at a 1/4, and then they go look at an 1/8 and it's half that scale. Okay, so many times I'll take a roof plan and do it at a 1/4 just to keep that continuity of my plan set going forward. So I would suggest that you take it at a 1/4. Okay. So how do we find that arrow size? 0.25 times my DSF, right? So let's make that first. What is that number? That would be 12. 1/4 of 48.
Should we correct that? I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's go to our roof plan. Oh, I gotta open the right drawing. Okay. I'm kind of the finished one of this. Okay, so we're probably sitting something like this. at this point. So your first task, make sure you get all your roofs done. Okay? Okay, that's the first thing. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our framing node. So let's make that triangle right off the bat. Okay. Now I put these on the text layer because in essence it's a text component. So let's going to go to that layer, make it current. Do the polygon command, three-sided equilateral polygon. So 3 sides. And we're going to do an inscribe because I want the polygon inscribed inside. And we'll make that 12 units. Okay, so you're making this little triangle. Once you get one, just mirror it. And add a line in between the two. Like such.
I got it done, everybody else. She always look at me. Did you get it done yet?
Raise your hand if you need a little more time. Missy, you good?
I'm good, yep, I'm just playing, it keeps going the wrong way.
I'll wait, I'll wait.
It's, I can just, rotate it. I have it, sorry.
No, you're okay. Nothing to be sorry about? Let's start with the easy one. We got one that's going over the garage, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I usually kind of draw this off to the side because I'm going to be copying it several times. So I'm just going to copy this character and pull it right over here and then do a rotate on it because I want to go the way of the trusses, so I'm going to rotate this thing 90 degrees. Because I look at the garage, now, if my gable end is sitting here, I'll wait a second while everybody rotates those.
And you don't have a specific link for that line?
No, not at this point I don't. I will have here in a moment. But we'll use the stretch command to fix that. That's my favorite
Oh,
command,
I
I think,
can't
in
get it to
the
work.
entire drawing modify thing,
I
that
can
stretch.
see how it would be good, but I can't make it work.
Okay, now, if your gable end is here, okay, this is the big wall coming up and my pitches are running this way, that means my trusses are gonna go this way, right here. Okay, and they're gonna be set every 24 inches. Now, some of you have changed that. Lisa, yours is the
Yeah.
first one that comes to mind. Your gable end is here, okay, so your trusses have to run this way. You wanna set your framing node in the same direction your trusses are going. Okay, so in this case for mine, it's here. Now, when I put it in, those arrows, they terminate on the outside of your bearing edge. Okay, so if you just watch me for a second, and then I'll let you do it. What I'm gonna do is just kind of take this character and move it. And I use probably the nearest snap on this because you're gonna maybe have some other things you wanna be able to move this. Okay, because you're not really sure where you're gonna place it, but I'm gonna snap it to the outside of that wall. Then I'll come in and use the stretch command here to take it from this side to the other bearing so that I've got that line going from bearing to bearing. Okay. So just go ahead and throw that in on there and then we'll add text in a moment.
wanna make sure you're putting it.
That doesn't matter where you put it, as long as it's in the area that we will be using. Escape.
See, that's the sort of thing we always have.
Okay, here's, let me do it for you. Go stretch, enter, right? Now you gotta use a crossing window. So what you wanna do is you wanna just bring it through. Now it's gonna change whatever happens here. I make sure I get all of that in the window and it won't change.
It could be blue or green.
No, it has to be green. Okay, now I didn't want this, I'm gonna deselect it. It's changing right through that area. The thing you're not doing is including all the stuff you want to stay the same. It's gotta be all the way inside the window. Remember, a crossing window changes on the edge. Everything inside is still selected.
Can you use the one that where you like, where you're drawing it, like, you're drawing a circle using
The lasso,
yeah, the lasso.
you can use a lasso. I rarely use a lasso,
That's all right.
because I'm still old school.
I like this.
All right, let's add a little text to it. Now, this should be 8-inch high text. Okay, so make sure you got the right text style current. It should be your Arch1. Now, in essence, what we're doing here is all we're going to do is give the truss shape. If you remember, I gave you a page number that had all the truss figures on it. Do you remember what page that was? One I said you probably want to bookmark.
It's towards the back of the book, right?
No.
Like the 900s.
I got it memorized, so if you don't have a bookmark, turn the corner of the page so you can refine this. Page 719. Okay, remember, the truss designer is actually going to design the truss. All you're going to tell them is the shape that you want. Which one of these trusses are we going to use? It would help if I showed you all of them. Which one of these are we going to use for the garage?
A standard.
It's got a flat bottom, right? The shape is a gable. That's it. Now, all gables on an end wall, you see the picture right here, have a gable end on them. All gables do. We do not need to call that out. The truss designer knows it's going there. It's the exact same truss as this. All they do is they switch all their members to 24 inches on center vertical so that we can put OSB on it. That's all they do that's different. Okay? They know it goes there. You do not have to call out the gable end. So we're going to use a standard truss. So I'll go back to the computer.
Wait, so gable, that one goes, these two go together? So you
Yeah,
call
they
out
go
standard,
together.
You get that, okay.
All you got to do is call out standard.
Okay.
So I'm going to put a little piece of M text on here. And it's going to say standard. That helps if I got caps lock on. Standard truss at 24 inches OC. What's our abbreviation for standard?
STD?
STD. Anybody got their Bertolini text there? Maybe if somebody could look in the appendix real quick and see what the abbreviation is for standard. It's back in appendix 1. I'll look it up. Were you guys putting your thing on? Have our other text?
It is STD.
Is that? Okay, thank you.
What is OC?
center?
Yeah, and when you do abbreviations, it's real tempting to come in here and do O dot, C dot. The standard is there are no periods on abbreviations on drawings. Okay. So
And
you're
even
just gonna
though,
take this thing and lay it right alongside the line, make sure it doesn't get too close to that line so it reads well. Okay, so I'll just come in and do a move and set it somewhere. Now, if I'm forced to put it here, folks, use your board drawing skills. What's the problem with where I've got this? What's the line weight of this? It's my roof peak. It's .031. That's a very thick line. Okay, so somebody's not going to be able to read that. Now, if I have to put it here, I'm going to use background mask with this text, and I'm going to, because they know that line goes through here. And if they lose sight of it for that little section, that's no biggie. If you can, just slide it off of it, okay, if you got enough room. A lot of times you have roofs that are too small, and you can't.
So you don't have to center that.
No, it does not have to be centered, it's just laid along the thing. And in fact, you can go to 2 lines on this. If I could put standard truss and then hit enter and put at 24 inches OC underneath it. Just need to have this note affiliated with this line. A lot of options there to make it fit.
Is there standard, has to be 16 or, 1/8 inch off that line? I mean,
No, I just eyeball it, yeah. Remember, you want to half your letter height.
Yeah.
So you've got your letter sitting there.
Yeah.
As long as your annotated scale was set correct, this text is the right size.
so even if you have room to write standard, you should always abbreviate.
I try and get in the habit of abbreviating everything. Yeah. And you saw how busy those floor plans got, right? And even though I know this one's not going to have a lot of information on it, I still abbreviate. I mean, just because I'm going to need that space. And it just saves me from writing it all out. Now I got to come back and change them all. And I just abbreviate right off the bat. Everything easy. All right, so that roof is done. You just roofed that whole thing.
So you know that they just take it from the corner, wherever you put that mark, doesn't matter. It's
That's right.
24 inch OC off the side.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So you said that, they're 24 inches apart, so you don't have to have that at the first 24 inches?
No, no. It depends on the plan you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to turn off of page 718 and go back to that roof plan, which was 24, 22. Okay, now we talked about 2 framing plans on page 551. Okay, we're going to do this top one. You can also do this one down here, where you use center lines to show every single member. If you remember when we talked about this, I told you don't attempt this unless you've built a roof. Okay, because you really need to understand how all these boards go up here and the blocking you need and everything that goes on with these. What's a girder truss? What's all this? If you don't understand that, you'll never get this right. And so you're probably, let's just not go there and create confusion, right? Because we want to still follow the 3 C's here. On the upper one, in essence, you're just telling them the shape and where it's going to bear, and then the truss designer takes it all from there. Let the professionals handle it. Okay. All right, let's come back to our main body of the roof. Let's handle the main house itself now. Now, as we come through, you might want to have your floor plan fairly close. Excuse me. Because if you remember on page 551, we have to denote zones where our trusses change. Now, in essence, what we're going to do is this roof right here is going to need its own framing note. Okay. Because it's not, I'm not going to tie it in with this one. This one I am tying in. This is going to be all done with a truss, even though I've got a shed here, that's a 412, I've got an 812 here, 812 here. This can all be one truss. Okay. Now also, you need to look at the underside of the roof, what's going on there. On this area, I've got a truss that's going to run from here to here. But do I have, is it all straight or is it all vaulted? Okay, it's both, right? Okay. So somewhere about right here, that closet and bathroom and everything takes over, and I want that to have a flat ceiling. Okay. Now I'm gonna vault my master room though. Okay. What kind of shape is this one? If you look at page 718, what truss, again, it's a gable truss, right? We still got a gable end here, it's a gable shape on the outside. What's going on the underside? Okay, yeah. We're not vaulting from bearing to bearing, that would be a vaulted truss. We're just doing a section of it, so it's a scissor. So let's go ahead and move that in. So I'll do a copy on this guy, bring it into one of my bearings. Again, just use your mirror snap to get it in. And then stretch it to the other bearing. And then lay some text on it. And this is going to be a